welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Joanna Kleinman, and today we're diving into a topic that cuts at the heart of every other relationship in your life, the one you're designing with yourself. Now, you might wonder, why do we so rarely think about actively cultivating this relationship? Well, it comes down to our hardwiring. From both a psychological and a biological standpoint, we're evolved to seek emotional needs outside of ourselves. Our brains are wired for connection and external validation. So when we experience positive social interactions with other people, our brain's reward pathways light up and makes external affirmation from other people feel really gratifying. So a perfect example of this hardwiring came up recently with a participant in my Mastering Your Mind program. So she shared that in her career, she's struggling with setting boundaries and not working herself into the ground. So she craves a balance between her career and her life as a mom to her 3 kids. But what holds her back is a fear of judgment from her colleagues. So she told me, I feel like I'm in middle school wanting to be one of the cool kids. And in her company, these cool kids that she's referring to are single women without children. And here she is juggling career demands and motherhood, which makes her feel like an outsider and like no matter what she does, she's not good enough and she's not fitting in. So the truth number one is unhook yourself from your ideal pictures. So think about it. How many ideal pictures are we carrying around? We have mental snapshots of what success should look like, what relationships should look like, what motherhood should look like, what midlife should look like, right? So we work tirelessly to match these images without questioning where they came from. But what happens to us when reality doesn't match our expectations? So for many of us, that's what leads us to disappointment and frustration and even feeling shame. Our brains are conditioned to chase validation because dopamine floods in when we are affirmed and we feel like we're matching these ideal pictures. So it creates a loop where we measure ourselves against a standard that we didn't even purposely set. And of course, social media amplifies this because we're constantly presented with idealized versions of people's lives that we mistake for the norm. So here's the reality check. Redefining success in every essential area of our lives is a vital step in cultivating a genuine relationship with ourselves. True success is not measured by external achievements. It's measured by aligning with your inner purpose. And while your automatic mind might tell you that you have to wait for clarity about your purpose before moving forward, clarity actually comes from taking small, aligned actions each and every day. And this is how you start moving towards a life that resonates with your soul rather than one that's shaped by other people's expectations. Now, psychology supports this idea. There's something called attachment theory, which teaches us that our need for validation and security is rooted in early experiences. So we carry forward the mindset of our childhood that sought affirmation from others instead of creating our own inner validation. So it's why we get triggered now and feel inadequate over things that logically shouldn't affect us. So I remember once a long time ago when my middle son was 12, he told me he hated me. Now, rationally, I knew he was just a kid and he was blowing off steam, but emotionally, it hit me like a ton of bricks and it triggered insecurities that I hadn't felt since middle school. Now, that's the power of our automatic mind. It doesn't just influence us, it actually pulls us back to old unresolved feelings and hijacks our confidence and hijacks our connection to our true selves. So, truth number two is that vulnerability is the birthplace of joy and peace and growth. So, opening ourselves to our own depths is the key to transcending fear and connecting with our true, authentic selves, and also tapping into what's really possible for us and for our future. Now, vulnerability is hard because it digs up our deepest triggers, right? And again, these are grounded in our early life defenses. So these patterns once served a purpose when we were young, but as adults, they are residing in us and preventing us from engaging fully in our relationships and really pursuing our soul's calling. So when we feel exposed, that alarm center in our brain, the amygdala, activates, right? And it interprets vulnerability as a threat. And this is why we instinctively avoid situations that make us feel vulnerable. It makes us feel unsafe, like being open and authentic, right? But without vulnerability, we can't form truly meaningful connections. We become prisoners of our own old defenses. So we have a choice. We can live in the safety of the familiar, or we can step into the discomfort of courage. And yes, choosing courage is very uncomfortable, but so is staying in your comfort zone. A life of self protection might feel secure in the moment, but it can lead you to regret for the things that you never dared to do. So, awareness of these patterns is essential. Now, I created the M.I.N.D method as a lifelong practice to unhook yourself from your automatic mind. So, with the M step, meet your automatic mind, you learn to observe and uncover the hidden beliefs that are beneath your fear and insecurity. The I step is to investigate the indication signs, and that tunes you into your emotions, your body sensations, and your behaviors that are signaling your automatic mind, right, has taken over your life. The N step is to neutralize the never ending message, and that step reveals the core fear that's influencing every important area of your life. The D step is design your life, which guides you to continually recognize and unhook from this automatic mind as soon as it's hijacked you, which leads us to truth number three, which is to surrender to life's flow and trust yourself completely. See, when we surrender control, we tap into freedom and we tap into purpose. See, this journey isn't about waiting for circumstances to change, but it is about building an unshakable foundation of self-trust. Now, psychology calls this process self-actualization, which is really aligning our inner values and purpose. So, cultivating this relationship with ourselves doesn't just mean we're caring deeply for ourselves, okay? It actually transforms the way we live and brings about a lasting sense of purpose and fulfillment that isn't connected to our circumstances, that isn't connected to how we feel that we're perceived by other people, which leads us to truth number four. Step into discomfort to shift your life's course. So growth calls us into the unknown, where we're led to discover our greatest potential, right? So one clear sign of growth is we increase our tolerance for discomfort, especially when we're staying true to ourselves in the face of somebody else's criticism or judgment. Now, this growth might mean that certain relationships, maybe certain career paths, no longer align with who we really are. And that can feel really unsettling. But when we sit with discomfort instead of running away from it or numbing ourselves from it, We train our brains to handle the unknown with resiliency. And this opens us up to so many more possibilities in life. Truth number 5 is about practicing presence, because practicing presence transforms everything. So when we practice presence, we awaken to the richness of each and every moment. We're no longer habitually seeking that better version of ourselves in our lives. And neuroscience shows us that practicing presence calms the brain's fear circuits and retrains our brain to be at ease with exactly what is instead of focusing on what's missing. So, this brings us back to the heart of today's episode. The relationship you cultivate with yourself shapes every other relationship in your life. And it all starts with the decision to step out of your automatic mind and tap into your authentic self. When you realize that worthiness and peace and fulfillment arise from within you, you free yourself from those external pressures and you find joy in simply being you. So thank you for joining me today. If this episode resonates with you, please subscribe and take our free inner critic assessment to uncover the stories that are holding you back and how they're impacting your relationship with yourself and how they're impacting your relationship with the most important people in your life. Until next time, keep mastering your mind.